Okay, so Maria back with another video, part 2. It looks like the video that I made in the middle of the night, well, it was in the middle of the night, it was a little after midnight, got cut off, so I posted part 1. I'm not even sure what I was talking about in the middle of past midnight yesterday. I was just mentally exhausted and things are going through my mind, but I believe I cut off where I was talking about, when I got into high school, I realized I was different than the other kids. And, a lot of it was the fact that I was very serious about certain things, and I think I mentioned that, religion or spirituality is a good thing to say. At the time I was studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, but still I wanted to be as close to, I guess, God as much as I wanted to. I wasn't overly geeky, and nothing was really forcing me to behave that way. It's just that, because when you're somebody who has a keen sense of intuition, or you have certain mental abilities that other people don't, you take things seriously when it comes to things that are relating to the supernatural, God, angels, blah, 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 blah. So it was something that I revered and respected, that I didn't expect other people to fully understand. But I do think my family was a little pissed off about it. But they would have gotten pissed off about anything that I did when I was growing up, because that's just how they were. Everything that I did or took an interest in would, somehow was worthy of, berating, because that's what happens when you're the scapegoat. So, when I got into high school, I was experiencing all kinds of bizarre things, like I would have brief moments of intuition, like certain things would flash in my head, and then all of a sudden things would actually happen. And so I didn't really put it all together until I got to be an adult, but I knew that I was obviously different. And not just that, it was just my taste and my likes were different. I was a little, I was just formulating into my own person. And anyway, so high school was kind of really awkward for me because, I didn't really fit in very well. I had some people that I associated with, but, really, you could only relate to people on a certain level, so I kept most of my interactions with people on the phone. I was very, what do you call it? I like talking, and I love being a goof, I loved making jokes, and I still do, although there's no one around to hear them. It was always funny for me to make up jokes that made absolutely no sense. And I used to love it when my mom would tell me to shut up. For some reason, that made things even more funny. I would say, "Mom, I got a joke," and she'd be like, "I don't want to hear it." And the minute she would say that, I knew that I could, I was a little sister, so little sisters like to annoy and get under people's skin, but that wasn't why they hated me. They hated me no matter what, But that was one thing I did enjoy. I enjoyed being goofy. I had a weird sense of humor. And, but anyway, high school was, to me, a time where I just, some people may have thought of me as being, because I really wasn't happy, and I was very depressed a lot in high school. So people immediately assume, oh, you're being, rebellious. It's not rebellion. There are oftentimes a lot of teenage kids aren't really fitting in their environments, and people paint them out to be like bad troublemakers. They're not bad troublemakers. They just don't fit in their environment. And oftentimes they are, victims of being scapegoated by their families, so they're misunderstood. So people write them off as just rebellious or something along those lines. I think every high school kid gets into little devilish things every once in a while. But overall, when I compare myself to so many other kids I knew, especially kids who had strong drug problems, or the kids who, were in and out of juvenile hall and stuff like that, I can't say that I've ever done anything like that. I was pretty much a good kid, It's just that I felt awkward around people. That's pretty much the way it was. And so the only things I really do remember that were good in high school was, I would talk to my friend, a lot on the phone. And I also had, I actually had 2 friends that I spoke to on the phone. And I remember I would talk to them a lot. And then, of course, I had my huge crush on the cute guy, which, kind of occupied a lot of my time. I would go and see him while he was at work. And, I would call his house and hang up on the phone and stuff like that. And I knew that back then he would never like me. But it was just, I figured since I couldn't be around him, if he didn't like me, I could still somehow be around him, like, look at him, right? So I would, get together, get myself together and go across town. Sometimes I would take the public bus, which back then, apparently the Antelope Valley's bus system has improved significantly since I was a teenager, because back then the buses ran like every 2 hours. So, and I think they stopped running like around 5. So there were times where, I was lingering in Kmart a little too long and I'd missed the last bus home. So then I'd have to walk home, which was always a nightmare, but it was worth it to me. So I would cross the desert, truck across the desert and head back home. And my little weird memory that I had about my weird, odd encounter in the middle of the desert got cut off in my first video yesterday, and it's really not that big of a deal. I guess I was tripping so hard on it because, I had never witnessed poverty when I was growing up. I never witnessed it. In my life, it was like, my dad paid the bills and everyone around me had, decent jobs. So to see people who had like financial hardships was very strange to me. And it wasn't just that, it was just the whole situation. I had just got done seeing the cute guy and I was walking home. I must have missed the bus, okay? So I was walking home in the middle of the desert over there, I guess, in Lancaster. They had like Sierra Highway Division. So it was like somewhere behind Sierra Highway in that desert area. And I saw this old elderly black couple with gray hair, and they must have been like in their 70s or something, and they were in front of a trailer and they were cooking food in tin cans, okay? And and they had like a little trailer, and I kept wondering, okay, they have a trailer, how do they use the bathroom? Because there's no water supply out there that I knew of anyway. Anyway, they had this huge pool. That wasn't a huge pool, it was like a kiddie pool, okay? But it was still, it's like, why would you carry that around, seeing as how you're basically homeless? But they had like a little kiddie pool, and they had an alligator in it, which was very strange to me because that's just a weird thing to encounter. You know what I mean? You don't expect to see something that bizarre. And I don't know why I was thinking about that and why that's so significant. I guess it's just because that's one of the things that marks my memories of going to see the cute guy. But anyway, then also I kept thinking it was surreal to me because I had never seen poverty before. I'd never really seen homeless people before. So that was strange to me. And I realized it was very sad, but at the same time I kept thinking, well, if you could barely afford to feed yourself, why do you have an alligator, and how is that alligator eating? And I know I'm getting off the subject, but I'm still kind of tripping on that whole alligator thing. But anyway, so I'd go home, and I was a very depressed person back in high school because it was like I felt like no one understood me at all. And, and I don't even think I fully understood myself. I knew I was different. I knew that my interests irritated my family. They didn't like the fact that I was studying with Jehovah's Witnesses at that time. But, to understand where all of these things came from was my life mission. Now, of course, I don't study with Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't have anything to do with them. But it was important for me to understand certain things about myself. And that was since they were obviously, offering studies and things like that, I figured, why not, and I did appreciate it, and I did learn a lot from it, but still, everything I did back then irritated my family, no matter what it is, what it was, it pissed them off, I'm wondering, gosh, to me, somebody who's interested in things like the Bible is much better than being a drug addict or something, but still, that just goes to show you how psychotic my family was. I know my oldest sister was a born-again Christian, so I think she was upset because I didn't go her path, but I just had to find things out on my own, Anyway, so yeah, high school was awkward for me. So when I think about people who got involved in this employment issue relating to Facebook, it's funny because, and I, when I think about if they're involved in it, it's like you don't really know me as an adult, to make formulated decisions onto how I'm supposed to live, what I like, what I'm supposed to do in life. Only because who I was in high school was a rough draft of who I am now, but it doesn't really paint a whole picture because I'm a completely different person. You know, like when I was in high school, I was a nervous wreck. You know, and I hid behind a lot of times my sense of humor because I was so, you know, I don't think I was ever really insecure. I always felt confident. I just felt like people didn't get me. You know what I mean? And so, but still, I did, you know, I'm still goofy. I really am. I still love my goofy stuff. But I don't think people know me, you know, and they're basing it a lot on what they thought they knew about me, you know, and that's not fair. It's not a fair assessment. So when I think about people who, from that time period, having an opinion about my life now, it's like, well, you know, it's kind of rough, you know, because they don't know very much about me now. Other than, you know, I would still say that I have the same likes. You know, I still like music. I still am, I still enjoy spirituality. I still have a very strong, you know, moral ethic about me. But, you know, there's certain things, like, I don't put up with bullying at all. Like, and back then, I was so confused. I couldn't stand up for myself because I was bewildered because of all my, you know, my family told me, my dad would tell me, like, people were shit all the time. But then, you know, you have this kind of, they call public programming, like you see things on TV, to where you think the majority of people are actually good. So when people are bullying you, you think, well, what's going on? You're confused, right? Because that's not how you think people, the majority of people are. But now I realize that most people are assholes, so I have no problem or reservations about putting people in their place if I have to. You know what I mean? So there's a difference from who I was in high school now. Because now I don't let people I don't put up with anything anymore, you know? But still, you know, yeah, I'm a different person in that respect, you know? But high school was, you know, a depressing time for me. I would go into my room a lot and turn on music and listen to the music in the dark. And that soothed me. You know, it actually made me feel safe, you know, like where, you know, I used to share a room with my sister all the way till I got in the 9th grade. Then after my oldest sister got married, I had my own room, and I felt better in my own room, okay? Even though it's still a part of the house, but I still had a place, a little spot in the house that I can go in and be by myself. And I liked being by myself, okay? I enjoyed it. And but now it's like I don't like being by myself when it's not an option. That's what I don't like, okay? Because I still like to have people come by, you know, although I don't know anyone. But, you know, I enjoy talking to people. I do. But I'm like in this weird solitude issue thing that's going on. But isolation. But, you know, I would say there's a lot of things that have changed in my life as far as my ability to assert myself. But, you know, pretty much I'm still the same. You know, I still like pretty much the same things, you know. I'm a lot stronger, you know. I don't stutter anymore. I used to have a stammering problem, which if you knew me from elementary school, you know that it wasn't there. But then in high school, for some reason, I couldn't formulate a sentence without stuttering because my nerves were just like constantly racked. I mean, I was constantly nervous all the time. But now I don't really deal with that anymore. So people can get better if they remove themselves from abusive environments. So my family was very abusive, extremely. Maybe they're not so much physical, but they're constant berating and sabotaging friendships, relationships, and stuff like that based on their personal opinion and their low self-esteem, okay? Really can affect a person, you know? But I've gotten better, you know? So anyway, yeah, high school, wonderful time. Oh, I do remember also, like, you know, I would call Kmart up, and there was this nice guy who worked in the automotive department, and he would tell me if the cute guy was working or not. And then sometimes, like, I would be calling from home, and I'm kept thinking, okay, well, I can't get a bus right now because the bus doesn't come for like an hour or so. And I would be crunched for time, you know, but he kept me posted. You know, whoever that guy is, I did appreciate it, you know. But so oftentimes, I would leave right after school to see the cute guy. Or on the weekends, I would, you know, make my dad take me to Kmart to see the cute guy. Yeah, you know, I really liked the cute guy a lot, you know, in high school. And I'm surprised that all this has been going on for such a long time without my knowledge, you know. And yes, I'm extremely intuitive, But when there's so many people thrown into certain issues, like, and I'm intuitive to a certain point, okay? Because usually if something's going on, I can catch on really quick. But there's too many people involved, so you don't know what's going on. And you're mostly suspicious of the people that you can actually physically see that you're interacting with on a daily basis. That's what it is, you know? So anyway, I'm hoping the cute guy will come around sometime soon. But I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs and waiting for that to happen. In the meantime, I would like to get on with my life, you know, because I feel very stagnated, and the depression gets a little overwhelming. You know, I'm the kind of person, I need constant stimulation. You know, my mind constantly needs to be stimulated. And when I'm sitting around not doing anything, then I get very antsy, you know. I don't know. Not sure what people think. I know I've gotten some kind of rude, not rude responses, but more indifferent responses, like when I would go on Facebook. And that's one of the reasons why I got off Facebook and closed out my account, because I kept thinking something is weird going on. I didn't know what was going on, because now I think that these people had, you guys or whatever, had something to do with my employment issue, and I had no idea. So I would go on Facebook, you know, to try to relieve myself from what was going on in my daily life, and then only to find out that you guys were behind it. You know, that's weird, okay? That's very strange, okay? But I will tell you, I had no idea. No idea whatsoever. And I didn't understand why people were being so, you know, weird and distant, and, you know, I didn't understand. I didn't get that part. But now I guess I kind of do. But whatever it is, it wasn't true. So, wrapping up this video, I'm going to just kind of sit back for the rest of the day and wonder, you know, are people getting the message? Because I really am tired of having my life being held back and just twiddling my thumbs and worrying about all these things all the time. The least you guys can do is make some sort of contact. If you're going to control my life, the least you could do is make some sort of contact, okay? Because you can't expect people to be understanding about certain things like that, you know? So, I mean, show yourselves eventually, because that's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. It's like 1:55. I'm trying not to take a nap tonight. I did go to sleep a little after I made the first video yesterday. It took me like till 2 o'clock to fall asleep. Then I got up this morning. My sleep pattern is very affected by all of this, you know, because it's trauma. I mean, you can't understand it unless, of course, you're in my shoes. And I do recognize at times when I make videos that are extremely true and people get offended by it and they unsubscribe to me. This does not offend me. I think their intention is for it to offend me. It's not, okay? When I lose subscribers over telling the truth, I know that I told the truth, okay? Obviously, I must be pissing people off, because when people don't like the truth, they want to not listen to it. But I'm right, obviously. So, and this particular channel is not to entertain people. It's to inform people. That's what it is, okay? If I wanted to do something entertaining, you know, I would be taking it to a different direction. Although, I've had some ideas about doing stuff like that, but my mind really hasn't been in a mood to be as silly and goofy as I'd want to be.